What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today, as promised, I'm going to be running you guys through my setup for the 2025 Total Archery Challenge event. I know I promised this video to you guys, but I was really waiting on some sights to come out before I made that decision, and now that I've had an opportunity to test all of those out, like I said, I've made a decision and what I've added to my personal stash here in 2025. Now, as far as the sight goes, you guys know that I'm a huge fan of the dialed proof. I've been running the dialed proof since I set up the PSE Mach 33, but obviously I love to tinker with my setup and try other gear, and I was debating between the HHA Nytrx and the Axcel driver, and for me personally, after seeing both of those sights, playing around with both of them and putting them side by side, I decided to go with the Nytrx. I think HHA did an outstanding job on this sight this year, and one of the biggest upgrades that led me to pick this sight up was the independent first access adjustment, which previously before they didn't have on some of their other models, which I did own an HHA Tetra Rise Max, and like I said, it only had a second axis and a third axis. So now with that first axis adjustment independent from the second and third, I felt like this is a really good option to go with. Some of the other features that kind of carried over from their previous models, which I'm a huge fan of, is the toolless adjustment if you are running a vertical pin setup. I also really like just how fluid it is to move the scope housing up and down. And then one of the biggest things that really led me down the path of picking up the HHA is their sight tapes. I think they offer the best sight tapes direct from a manufacturer. They offer the longest sight tapes straight out of the box, and also their sight tape lines are very spaced out, very easy to read. Another big benefit of the HHA Nytrx is the fact that you have a replaceable roller wheel if you go with their Pro Series, so switching between arrow setups is also very easy. I sighted this in and got this set up on Memorial Day. It took me roughly about 10 shots to pick a sight tape, and then I walked that sight tape out from 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, even shot 122, and the tape performed very, very well, so they're definitely accurate. I've tested these before in the past and have been very pleased with HHA tapes, so that was kind of to be expected. Now for my setup, I did go all black Cerakote versus the anodized, and then I also went with a Cerakote roller wheel to match the PSE clay riser, and definitely happy with how this sight turned out. Now previously, before when running HHA sights, I've always swapped out the scope housing and ran a UV scope, the smaller one, to get the most amount of clearance, but this year I really wanted to stick with the HHA sight because I've never really tested this scope housing out at TAC or in a hunting situation. And when I did my pin brightness comparison test, where I compared 4 of the top 2025 bow sights, I think HHA performed extremely well. So like I said, I definitely wanted to give it a shot. As you can see, I did add a bonus ring, which you can pick up for roughly about 10 bucks. I had to add that to the scope housing because I did have a little bit of daylight when I was at full draw through my peep. I do run a 3/16 peep, and I prefer that for hunting, so I didn't want to change that, and one easy fix is definitely to just add that bonus ring. Now as far as arrow setup, I already did an arrow build video. If you guys want to check that one out, I'll put a link in the description below, but I'm sticking with the RIP TKOs. I built this arrow earlier in the year and it's coming in at 418 grains, and like I said, I'm clocking at 291 out of the PSE Mach 33. And then as far as arrow clearance goes on the HHA, my top pin I can get all the way out to about 122, 125-ish, and then my bottom pin I'm pretty much maxed out comfortably at about 130. I could probably squeeze a couple extra yards, but that's basically where I'm going to stop at. Now obviously, if I ran the dialed proof series bow sight, I could definitely get some further distance out of that sight when compared to the HHA. I ran the Axcel previously before on a slower bow, and my top pin was out to 130, my bottom pin was out to 150, but keep in mind their sight tapes stop at 100 yards straight out of the box. You can go to their custom sight tape builder and utilize that to get longer sight tapes, and I have done that before in the past and they come out extremely accurate, but they obviously require a little bit more effort when compared to the HHA. But just wanted to give you guys an update on this. If you guys have any other questions, or if you guys like me to do any other review videos comparing the HHA Nytrx to any of the other sights, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely work that into the schedule. And if you are going to the Total Archery Challenge event out at Boyne, Michigan, and you see me out there, please come up, say hello. I love interacting with the people who support the channel. If you guys have not subscribed, please do so. so. Your guys' support greatly helps us out, keeps us doing what we're doing. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you on the next one.